Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are live. It is Monday, August 12th. It is noon here on the East Coast of the United States, and I am your host for Skill Building Monday Drawing Group. My name is Jason Leeser. And if this is working for you, please do us a favor, drop us a comment in the chat, and please let us know we're not talking dead air. And if you get the chance, tag everyone you know that loves tattoos. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You can find Reinventing the Tattoo at www.reinventingthetattoo.com, and you can try it out for free. You do not have to subscribe right away. We give you three different options to try it out in case you're curious as to what it might be like. The first option is to take a sample webinar from the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon. Kind of gives you a little bit of a sneak peek of what it's like to be on the inside and to have a subscription. Gives you a quick glimpse at some of the information that's contained within Reinventing the Tattoo. Or the other option is you can get some free advice from Guy Aitchison about your unique goals. Maybe it's things you need to work on. Maybe it's different concepts. Maybe it's some type of fine art skill you might want to work on improving upon. Um, or the third option is to take a comprehensive tattoo history course from Jay Brown. Being a tattoo history nerd and tattoo history buff myself, I found that course to be extremely enlightening, and I highly encourage everyone to look into that if you don't know a whole lot about the history of tattoos or tattooing. Um, at reinventingthetattoo.com, you can also find a full event schedule with full weekly and special event live stream details. For example, if you wanted to jump into today's live broadcast, all you'd have to do is go to reinventingthetattoo.com, click on the event area, and you'll see a calendar pop up that is populated with all of the links to all of the upcoming live streams here on the network. At reinventingthetattoo.com, you can also find access to our Reinventing 24/7 channel, which has on at any given time 13 different episodes playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is available on all web enabled devices. So if you ever find yourself bored waiting for a client to show up, or maybe you're just killing time in between layers on a painting, feel free to hop into that. It is free and it's really, really awesome. At reinventingthetattoo.com, you can also find access to a whole host of professional development courses, live and paid for on demand seminars from over 20 world class tattooers. If you wanted to, say, learn how to tattoo a koi fish half sleeve like Andre Malcolm, there's a seminar in there that you can purchase for that. Maybe you want to learn how to tattoo skulls like Bob Tyrell. Well, guess what? We have that seminar as well. That and a whole lot more. It's all available for purchase, pay per view on reinventingthetattoo.com. You can also find us in both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as our Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel, our Reinventing the Tattoo Roku channel, which has 12 to 15 different episodes going at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as well as all of the major podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify. Or you can do what most people do and just pull up your web browser and do a quick search for Reinventing the Tattoo, and you'll find it all. Except for the book, which is out of print. No more copies are being made or sold. So if you find a copy and you have the opportunity to purchase it, I highly recommend that you do, because those are getting to be quite expensive on eBay. Once again, if this is working for you, please drop us a comment in the chat and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. Maybe it's someone that wants to become a tattoo artist. Maybe it's someone looking to get their first tattoo. Maybe it's just someone that has an affinity for the tattoo art style. Tag everyone you know that might be interested. We always, always appreciate that. Would like to go through and plug some of our weekly staple shows. We always encourage people to tune into Starting off at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings, we have Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, where we get to go through and discuss basic drawing techniques and strategies. Helps us get back to our roots of being a fine artist here in the tattoo industry. Following that, you have this show, which is Skill Building Monday Drawing Group with me, Jason Leeser, and that is at noon East Coast time every Monday, unless, of course, I'm working at a show and I'm traveling back from a show. Then, then obviously it's not going on. Um, Following this and capping off Monday evenings at 9 p.m., we have a subscribers exclusive drawing group with Sandy McAndrew from the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. Now, you will only have access to that Monday evening drawing group if you have a Reinventing the Tattoo subscription. We have 3 different types you can pick from. One is specifically for the Monday evening drawing groups, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, those Monday evening drawing groups alone are worth their weight in gold. If you look at the work that I was doing prior to starting those and after I finished, and I spent about 2 years doing them, you can notice a marked improvement in the work that I was doing. Each week, we cover a different chapter in the Reinventing the Tattoo canon and go over some of the exercises and some of the skills that are highlighted in those chapters. Everything from lighting and contrast to texture, flow, form, and fit on the body. All of that and a whole lot more. That's all covered during the Monday evening drawing groups at 9 p.m., available to subscribers only. That kind of caps off Mondays. On Tuesdays, we have the Tattoo Weekly Show with Gabe Ripley, Lauren Gregory, and Fawn Baker, where we get to stay up to date with all of the latest tattoo information and trends. Any new legislation being passed gets discussed, any new developments in the tattoo community, any new information coming about things, all of that and a whole lot more. That's all available at the Tattoo Weekly. That's Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Following that, on Wednesdays at noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley, where we get to do a deeper dive into the business aspect behind tattooing. It really helps us go through and kind of hone down on some of those business skills that we all need to have. We discuss everything from travel visas, marketing strategies, advertising, promotional methods, different ways that you can streamline and make what you do a lot more efficient. Once again, anything dealing with business, that's usually discussed during the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley. That is Wednesday at noon. And capping off the week, Thursdays at 6 p.m., we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast with Fawn Baker, where we all get to go through and share some of our stories about some of our travels along the tattoo path and, maybe provide some advice for people that might have some questions. We do have a couple of very special events coming up, starting off with Hell City in Phoenix, Arizona, and that is August 22nd through 26th. And we have got an incredible lineup of artists that will be working at Hell City this year. Starting off with Paul Booth. Paul Booth will be there tattooing live in person, as well as Mike Cole, Ty McEwen, Ron Earhart, Amber Joy, D-Rock, Oak Adams, Anna Mia, Brian Geckel will be there tattooing, Jimmy DeLesio, Pepe Carrere, Chris Mack, and of course myself. I will be there tattooing live, and that is August 22nd through 26th in Phoenix, Arizona, the Hell City Tattoo Convention. Following that, October 24th through 27th in Hancock, Massachusetts, Reinventing the Tattoo will be broadcasting live from the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. And we have got an incredible lineup of speakers this year. And I say that not because I'm presenting, even though I am presenting, but I mean, when you look at this list, it's absolutely incredible who's going to be there speaking this year. We've got everyone from Jake Meeks from the Fireside Network. Kyle Olson will be there. Renee Little will be presenting. Mickey Schlick will be there. Sandy McAndrew will be there live presenting. She's flying out from Canada. Thea Duskin will be there presenting. Corey Ferguson, Steve Butcher, master of color realism himself, will be there presenting this year. Marcus Lenhard and Kaya Heitland will also be there presenting live. I believe they're also flying out from the west coast of Canada. Gunnar will be there doing a presentation. Anthony Tex from Deadly Tattoos in Calgary will be flying out to present. Russ Abbott will be there presenting. I will be there presenting. I mean, the list goes on and on. You guys really have to take a look for yourselves. This is not going to be an event that you want to miss. I highly, highly recommend that you take a look into it. Start emailing, start getting your plans together now for Paradise Tattoo Gathering this year. It is going to be one to remember. It is going to be one for the books. And the lineup is going to be absolutely insane. You do not want to miss it. Would like to go through and take a minute to thank some of our sponsors and some of the people that make these shows happen. Starting off with WorldTattooEvents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They're constantly keeping everything updated. As we know, living in this post-pandemic era, there are still some tattoo events and conventions getting rescheduled like crazy. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest, most up-to-date tattoo event or convention information coming to a city or town near you, maybe it's one you plan on visiting. That's how I usually book all of my vacations, is usually around a tattoo convention or a tattoo event or something like that. No, it makes me kind of a nerd, but I mean, hey, it's what I love to do. So take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Would also like to thank TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattooers of all levels. They're 100% competitive with any type of CRM, mailing list, or scheduling software out there. So if you're really looking for the digital tools that will help you streamline your booking process to help you get more people through the door that really want to get the kind of work that you really want to do, take a look at tattoonow.com. They have been a leader in this industry for over 20 years. They know exactly how to make that happen. Would also like to say a very special thank you to Guy Aitchison, who is the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. Go to guyaitchison.com where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia, as well as some of his tutorial DVDs. I believe he still has a couple of custom coil machines for sale, as well as countless fine art prints and the occasional original oil painting, all for sale at guyaitchison.com. Would also like to say a very quick and special shout out to Amy Nichols over at the Apprenticeship Diaries. That is one of my preferred resources to send people to. If they are looking to become a tattoo apprentice, definitely want to check it out. There is a lot of great information there. All you have to do is go through. It's free. It's a podcast. You can listen to all of the episodes if you want to. It's absolutely phenomenal. As always, if you like today's show, please go through, help us get the word out. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down at the bottom of the page. That way you can stay up to date with all of the new shows and all of the latest episodes coming to you. I know we've got a killer lineup of some great interviews coming up in the next few weeks. I've been talking to Marcus Lenhard and Kaya Heitland about going through and jumping on here for a couple of interviews, so I'm very excited for that. We've got a few others lined up as well, but I'm not going to spoil the surprises. You have to click that follow button if you want to stay up to date and find out. If you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event or become a sponsor of our community, if you are looking for a fine art or a tattoo critique, you can always email management at reinventingthetattoo.com. We will get back to you as soon as we absolutely can. And that kind of wraps it up for today's introduction. I did have something that I wanted to go through, knowing that we are right around the corner from. Why isn't this saving? There we go. Cool. We are right around the corner from the Hell City Tattoo Convention, and I did want to go through and say a couple of things about a couple of pieces of advice that I've learned over the years about working at tattoo conventions or tattoo events or whatever. And these are mistakes I've made, and these are things that I think most people out there could really benefit from understanding about tattoo events and conventions. Um, and I've got like a series of rules that I always tell people that want to go through and start working a lot more shows. The first rule, and this is a hard rule for me personally, and it's something I stress to everyone out there that has an interest in working at tattoo conventions, is never work at a tattoo convention or a tattoo event unless you can afford to take a complete and total loss for the show. And I'm talking like you don't do a single tattoo. If you can't afford to do that, do not work at the show. It's that easy. Um, because when you work at a tattoo convention, you always run the risk of coming back not making anything, not breaking even, not even coming close to breaking even. And I found that out the hard way internationally. I remember working at one show, and I won't bother to mention where it is because I love the people that organized it, and I thought it was a great show. But the promotion was terrible. Hardly anyone showed up. Some of the locals didn't even know what was going on. And I think I did 3 tiny tattoos all weekend. I didn't even make enough money to cover the booth. And it was a total loss. And it taught me a lot about what to expect and what to do. And, the fact that I can't rely on working at a show in order to make money. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, if at all possible, do enough promotion through social media, through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, to secure at least one appointment per day. One appointment per day, if you add all of those up, should give you at least enough money to cover the booth and travel expenses. They don't have to be super huge. Typically, if I'm working at a show, I have a higher hourly rate. The reason being is because I have to travel there, so it makes sense. I mean, you have to factor that into cost somewhere, right? But I always try to book at least one appointment per day. I try not to book too much more than that, but at least one appointment per day just to cover the cost of going out to the show. And that's all through promotion. By the way, here's a little Instagram promotion hack for those of you that are out there. If you have a computer that you can log into Instagram on, do your Instagram promotion through that. They will not charge you the Apple fees for the promotional charges. If you try to do it from your phone, you will get dinged with fees from Apple to go through and do a promotion through Instagram or Facebook or whatever. That's a little advertising hack. Go through, save yourself a couple bucks, take that extra money that you would normally pay to Apple for those fees, do it straight through the computer. You'll be fine. You'll be happy. Everyone benefits. If you are going to do walk ups all weekend at a show, make sure your designs are at eye level and not on the table. This is a common mistake that I see with a lot of tattoo artists. It doesn't take a whole lot to get a couple of pieces of mat board or poster board, something stiff enough to stand up, and you can get a couple of little clamps, tape them to the clamps, and then that way you've got like a little backing board that you can tape your designs onto at the show, right? That puts them at eye level. It forces them down people's throat. You need to show people what you can do and what you're capable of. If your designs are just spread out on the table, that could make the difference between someone, looking straight ahead and it catching their eye instead of having to look all the way down at the table. So put them closer to eye level, as close as you can be, but still having a viewable area. And trust me, it makes a world of difference. People are going to notice your stuff a lot better. You're going to make a lot more sales with your custom designs that you bring. It really, really helps. It also, believe it or not, clears up a lot of table space. So if you have prints you're trying to sell, boom, throw those on the table. People want to come by, grab a print, buy a print or whatever. They can do that too. It's right there on the table. But now that area that you have to sell prints, right? That's not being taken up by designs that you want to tattoo. Now, I bring a lot of different designs that I've drawn over the years that I want to tattoo to shows because you never know what people are going to want, right? I want to be able to display that and the prints that I have for sale all together right there, right on the table. I have my little half a table length. It's usually what, about 3 feet? Well, 3 feet by what, maybe 16 inches long. It's not a whole lot of room to really display all the stuff that I bring with me. So I had to find a way to compensate. Easiest way to do that, find some way to have a back, like a table backing, display all your stuff on that. Um, Make it easy for people to see and it will catch their eye. If they have to look for your designs that are available, it's not going to be as helpful. If your designs are just line drawings, print them out on something like neon or fluorescent colored paper to catch people's attention, right? You need to catch people's eye. Show people that, hey, these are designs I want to do. This bright neon green or fluorescent green or hazard orange or whatever, this is going to catch people's eye, right? People are going to notice that fluorescent color. That is going to draw them over to see what you have available. Little trick, you have to catch people's eye. Do it that way, especially if you just have line drawings up for grabs. If you want to do color tattoos, if you are a color tattoo artist, if that is what you are really trying to push more of, make sure your designs are drawn in full color. It seems like a very common sense thing, but you would be surprised at how many people I see that, just have line drawings out. They don't have any kind of a color rendition. And they get people that, turn around and they're like, oh, well, what colors would you do? And it's like, well, if I have to sit down and explain that to you, like, obviously I'm missing something. And I've been asked that at a few shows before when I've had line drawings available. Um, so if you already have a color rendition done, they are more likely to see that and they are more likely to get it done in color. That being said, if you are a black and gray artist, make sure your designs are done in black and gray. Or you can do what I do, and I usually do a copy of each, right? It doesn't take a whole lot to take a color drawing, desaturate it in Procreate or Photoshop, and boom, you have a black and gray version, right? Um, it's that way you can turn around to people that are like, oh, I really love this, but I really only get black and gray tattoos. Cool, not a problem. You want to see it in black and gray? I'll show you real quick, right? And you pull that out, and they're like, oh man, that's sick. Let's do that. Sweet, done. Now you just made a sale. Little stuff like that can really make or break a tattoo convention. So it's always something I try to have available as well. I've worked a lot of shows over the years. Man, I lost track of how many tattoo conventions and shows I've worked at. But I've got like a stack of lanyards, a couple inches thick. And that's not including the ones that don't give you a lanyard, right? What's next? Make sure that you have a different assortment of different types of designs that you can put out, right? And make sure they're different sizes, right? Because you never know, especially if you're going to a town that you've never been to before, you don't have an established clientele. Make sure that you've got a little something of everything. Make sure that you've got some traditional work. Make sure you've got some fine line work. Make sure, even if it's not your thing, even if you're like, well, I don't really do that kind of stuff, bring a couple designs anyway. It can be the difference between doing tattoos all weekend and not doing any tattoos. Trust me when I say it's helpful. Even if it's something you want to tattoo, regardless of what style it's done in, if it's something you really want to do, bring it with you. Um, but make sure that you have all different types of designs. I'm talking like everything from, silver dollar sized all the way up to maybe letter paper size, right? Most people aren't going to get super big tattoos as walk ups. Um, every now and then you'll meet someone that's like, oh, hey, yeah, you want to throw a half sleeve on me? All right, it's going to be expensive, but we can do that. Um, but Make sure that you have everything in a reasonable size range. Obviously, price them accordingly. If you estimate it's going to take you 4 hours, figure out your hourly rate for working that show, all expenses included, including travel, gas, hotel, food and drink, any type of last minute necessities you might have to pick up at the show, factor that in. All of that stuff gets factored in to your hourly cost at a tattoo convention, which is why tattoos tend to be a little bit more expensive. Um, Make sure that you have all of that stuff figured out, and then figure out how long you think it's going to take you. There you go. There's your price for it. I know that I usually have a typical minimum of $200. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny little heart or if it's, a semicolon, right? $200. And the reason being is because that is the minimum I need to make per tattoo at a convention, right? I've done the math. That's what I have to make. It stinks, and I really don't want to tattoo a semicolon for $200, but I'll do it if I'm traveling. Um, I just kind of the way that it goes. Try to bring all original designs as well. Um, don't bring anything that you find on Pinterest, and I see this happening with different shops and different studios around the country at bigger shows. It's like they literally go on Pinterest and just print out all of the designs that they see on Pinterest that they think are going to sell, though, and they don't even try to disguise it, right? They don't have a clue. They literally just take them, print them out, cut them out, and throw them on the table, and cool, whatever. That's what they do, right? They're literally ripping off designs left and right. Bring original stuff, right? Bring stuff people have never seen before. If you're a traditional artist, cool. Come up with some traditional design. Do a traditional snail, right? I've never seen a traditional snail tattoo ever. Do something like that. Do a traditional chipmunk, right? Um, Come up with different concepts of stuff that's original that you want to do, right? Bring that with you. Bring everything that you can with you that's original. Why? Because you want to showcase what you're capable of as an artist at these conventions. That's part of the reason behind tattoo conventions, right? Showcase yourself. Show what you're capable of doing, right? Don't sit back and just be like, "Oh yeah, cool, yeah, we can do that tattoo that everyone else has gotten that you got off of Pinterest. Yeah, sure, we can do that." Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's like I usually try to gear people towards what I have out and what's available because it's all stuff I want to tattoo. And it's all stuff that I know looks good because I've had several people, comment on that kind of stuff. So, yeah, make sure it's all original. The last thing you want to do at a tattoo convention is get called out for, stealing someone's design or ripping someone off. It just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and there's a pretty good chance you're not going to go back to that show. So, food for thought. That, and don't be afraid to talk to the people next to you at conventions, right? They can end up becoming your best friends and open up doors to you that you will never realize. I was just working at Hell City out in Ohio in May, and I met some absolutely incredible people that I've kept in touch with. A couple of people that are actually working at Hell City in Phoenix, and I can't wait to run into them and catch up with them and see what's new, and grab some dinner with them. This is how you network. This is how you build friendships in this industry. Go through, meet people, right? Talk to them, open up to them, discuss different techniques, discuss ideas. Maybe they do a different style than you do. That's awesome. Cool. Learn from them, talk to them, figure out what they're doing that you're not doing. Collaborate, brainstorm ideas, ask them about their ideas on different things, right? Oh, you do fine line black and gray work. I don't do a whole lot of that. What is it that you're using to achieve the effects that you do? Is there a specific type of black that you're using? Are you using bug pins or number 12s? Are you using medium or long taper? What are you doing to achieve your effects because your work is awesome? Be kind to people. It's amazing what can happen when you're nice to people. What for absolutely no reason. It's a secret of networking, right? Is whenever you're in a group of people, find someone, go up to them, bring them a drink. If they don't drink, bring them a soda, bring them a snack, right? Random people that you don't know. Do something nice for them, and you will be surprised at the amount of reciprocation that comes out of it, right? Why? Because when you do something completely altruistically like that, with no expectation of anything like that coming back to you, but just being kind for the sake of being kind, people see that. And that attracts people to you. Now people want to get to know, who is this person that did something so nice for me without any expectation of getting anything back, right? Who is this person? I want to know, because people don't usually do that, right? So it creates an air of mystery. Now people want to get to know you. Now your network is expanding even more. Food for thought, my 2 cents on it. Trust me when I say it's going to be helpful. Um, and I just realized the resolution on my camera is way off. Um, let's see what I've got here. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Can't change it while I'm live. Boo. Okay, well, sorry to hear that. Sorry to have that the way that it is. Not much I can do about it now, though, but that's okay. I hope I'm still coming through all right. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on tattoo conventions. Um, you know, Also, I would like to encourage everyone I know, and I know I've said this quite a few times in the past, go through and attend seminars, right? Um, find find seminars going on that from artists that you really admire. See if they're live streaming them. I just attended a few out at the Winnipeg show, even though I'm still in Pennsylvania. Um, I was just out virtually attending the show or the seminars at the Winnipeg Tattoo Convention, and yeah, it was awesome. I got to listen in to Marcus Lenhard's seminar, a whole bunch of other people, James Tax, Anthony Tax, James Acro. I mean, a lot of really awesome information coming out of the Winnipeg seminars. Um, just absolutely fantastic information. Really gave me some new insights and new perspectives on things. So I always try to encourage people to do that. Big shout out and thank you to Rich Hanford for running the Winnipeg Tattoo Convention, deciding to live stream everything. Really appreciate it. Maybe I can try to figure something out where I can get up there to work at that show one day. Um, shouldn't be too difficult. I've been to Canada a couple of times, but I've never worked a show up there, so I really don't know what it's like. But I'll see what happens. Yeah. So I am going to go through and switch my screen over. I'm going to start drawing for a little bit. Just working on a new concept design for the Hull City Convention. We'll see if anyone kind of gets it. I decided to go with like a little bit of a different perspective on a dragon. I kind of wanted something that was at a really different kind of odd angle, but I really wanted to utilize the principle of foreshortening because perspective is not something that I do very often. So I always try to have to work a little bit longer at it. I'm just seeing some of the comments now, by the way. Um, None your business, man. What's going on? Welcome. Thank you for tuning in today. No worries about running a little late. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop a comment. I'll be happy to answer whatever questions you might have or talk to you about whatever you might want to talk about. So if you have any questions or ideas, let me know. Uh, Also, I don't know if anyone saw the post or not, but a very, very awesome artist and pretty awesome friend as well recently had a tragic accident up in Canada. Her name is Christina Christie. If you don't know, go to her Instagram page, take a look. She has a GoFundMe out. She suffered third-degree burns on her face, neck, and hands. She is a tattooer, and she will not be capable of tattooing for quite some time due to her recovery. So if you have a chance, go through, wish her well. If you have the money to burn, go through, maybe drop a donation or something like that. She was supposed to be up at Paradise Gathering this year. Obviously, that is no longer happening. So just something to think about, something to kind of yeah, just think about. Christina, we hope you get better soon. Your work is phenomenal. Cannot wait to see you recover fully and talk to you more because I did get a chance to talk to her a couple years back about what she does, how she does it, and what her process is like. And it was inspirational. So go take a look at Christina Christie on Instagram. If you have the chance, feel free to go through, drop a donation. I know it's going to take her a while to get back up and running based on the images of the injuries that she sustained. And I say this only because, being part of the tattoo community at large as a whole, these are the times and these are the things that we don't always anticipate, right? Much like my friend Ricardo. Ricardo, if you're listening out there, man, um, Ricardo had a very crazy experience with a coyote that literally ran into him and shattered his leg while he was on his motorcycle. Don't worry, the motorcycle's fine, which is awesome because it really is a really sweet bike. But these are all things that can happen to us randomly in life. No one can predict what's going to happen in the future. No one can see that. So if we stay together as a tattoo community, as a whole, and help each other out, it really goes a long way, and that kindness does get repaid. It does. So that's my 2 cents on it. But yeah, today I'm just going through. I'm working on the principle of foreshortening. Foreshortening is when things appear much larger in front of you than they normally would, and what that is a principle of perspective. The principle of perspective dictates that as things move further away from you, they shrink, and as they come towards you, they get a lot bigger. Um, Now, I've been playing around with this, trying to get the positioning right for the past couple of days. Still haven't found anything that I'm really that happy with. Trying to figure out, where do I want the hand? Because it's obviously coming a bit closer towards you. So I'm trying to figure out what the best perspective to have this hand at would be. Um, I would ideally like one finger to be coming a lot closer, maybe have one hanging down. So maybe this part would actually be bent down. This would be coming up and back. And then the rest of the hand would kind of disappear behind what's going on back here. This would be a link in the finger. Right. A while back, I was overhearing a couple of artists talking about volume sketching, basically where you go through and once you have a rough idea of the angle that you want something to be at, right? Once you have like a little wireframe mock-up of a direction, and I'll start this whole thing over just so you guys can kind of see. Actually, rather than erasing, we'll just hide that layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with like a little wireframe, right? Hope everyone can see this all right. Let's go through, and we'll mute this. We'll bring that down a bit more. Cool. All right, so I've got like a little bit of a wireframe. I'll make this a little brighter too, that way everyone can see it. So I'm going to go through and do a little bit of a mock-up. So I'm going to bring a line up, and I'm going to bring the forearm down, or this is the upper arm, sorry. And then I'm going to bring the forearm down this direction, right? And I know that this ideally is coming towards me, right? So it's going to get bigger here than it is back here, which kind of creates a little bit of a difficulty with the forearm, but I'll get to that in a minute, right? Now I want to have one finger that comes up. So this would be ideally the top of the hand would be back here. So if I were to draw it kind of in 3 dimensions, this would be like a knuckle ridge, right? This would be the base of the palm. And then from here, I would have 3 fingers. You know, I usually, and I know this is kind of like against the rules, but I usually do like an opposable thumb. So that would come down here. Maybe it would bring this down and curl in a little bit more. And these are just little wireframe directional lines, right? This finger would come up a bit, come forward, and then forward even more, which means this opposable thumb would not look like that. It would be coming out and down a little bit. This pinky would be coming out and then down towards the viewer a bit more, right? Maybe not at such an angle. So once you've got like a rough concept for where you want the direction of this stuff to go, the technique is called volume sketching. I usually find it's best to do, there we go, square sketching. I usually find it's best to do with a brush that is set up. Basically, it's called like a glazing layer, and you can set that up in your brush settings. Essentially, what it does is no matter how many times you go over one spot, it doesn't change the color unless you lift the pencil and you go over it again, right? It's like creating a glaze in oil painting. I've always found that sketching with something set up like that is usually a lot easier, because I build and build and build and build and build, right? So I'm going to start off with like your deltoid, right? The deltoid of the dragon, which will make a decent size, right? And this is essentially just a sphere. So I'm going to kind of shade that in. Next, I've got the tricep, and I'm just going to do some ovals just to sketch that in. Your bicep muscle, right? There's that. The elbow would be back here. This bicep muscle might come down a bit more. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to shape and carve out the volume of each one of these things. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me the idea when I go to shade it or color it or whatever, that, hey, this is a round portion. This is a round portion. This is a round cylindrical 3-dimensional shape. And it kind of already goes through and creates a volume for you. That's why, hence the name volume sketching. You know, if I'm going to do the forearm or the lower portion of the arm, I'll start out bigger and wider, and I'll kind of taper that down. right? You'll see certain artists do this if they draw snakes or dragon bodies, because what it does is it can give you like the ridge lines and show you the volume, right? And help you map out where certain curves might be, right? But at the end of the day, it does create a volume, especially if you like to do a lot of cross hatching. You can literally go through and cross hatch and it'll create like a shadow or a shadow shape. And then what we would do is clean this shape up and define it on the next portion. Um, Strung a little bit more opaque than I would want it to, so I'm just going to make that a little lighter. We'll turn the opacity down a little more. So for these fingers, once again, I would start out and I would just do some ovals, right? To where I have the knuckle, ovals down. And then I would do it again if I wanted it to be darker. Same thing here. For this finger, I'm literally trying to draw concentric circles to create the volume of that portion of the finger. Even if it gets covered up, which it will because of the perspective I want this thing to be at, I'm going to draw circles to create the volume of this cylindrical shape, right? All as a sketch, right? Because we're going to define this in just a minute. Same thing down here. If I have, bumpy little palm ridges, I know some artists that like to draw bigger and they like to just kind of like block in shapes. That works a treat too, but I find for volume sketching, it's not typically the best. It's not what I go for. From here, we would go through and we can either stick with the same brush and we'll just make it a little darker. Maybe we'll add another layer on top. And then this is where we can kind of go through and define, by following some of these bumps and ridges that we just sketched out, following some of the volume we just created, it kind of helps us with our form. Same can be said for sketching out people, hands, faces, arms, legs, torsos, anything like that. Anything where you want to create a volume, and you know that what you're drawing, you want to have a volume or a weight. It's a nifty little trick that I picked up that has worked as an absolute treat over the years, just to kind of help speed up some sketching. Most people don't ever see this layer, and the reason being is because it's just that, it's a sketch, right? Now this part is going to come down here. This would be here. This would be a little bit more vertical and a little higher, right? And then back here, we would have the thumb shape. And then this would be down over here. And this is where volume sketching can really come in handy, because if you notice over here, I'll create a new layer and I'll draw on it in red with a different brush. That way you can kind of get an idea. So if you notice these circles here, right, they're already kind of creating a ridge pattern for me on the underside of the finger. It makes coming up with like little ridge lines and stuff like that just a lot easier. to go through and just kind of rough in. You can always take your time and smooth it out later. Keep it sketchy at first, keep it rough. It doesn't have to be super defined right away. And the reason being is because it's literally just that, it's a sketch. It does not, no one's going to expect a sketch to be a polished work of art or a finished drawing or a value study or anything like that. It's literally just a sketch. Sketching helps you get down loose ideas and helps you build and refine other ideas as you go through and create. Um, sketching is basically just putting visual ideas down, and helping to arrange and organize concepts. Sometimes I'll do multiple sketches, for one pretty simple tattoo, just trying to explore different ways that things move and different ways I can draw things, different perspectives to help me understand the shape and the form of whatever it is I'm drawing a bit better. Um, it can be really, really helpful. So, cool. And we still have a couple of minutes left. I do have to get going right at 2 o'clock today. Or sorry, right at 1 o'clock today. As I have quite a few things I need to finish getting together and finish doing, so that I can adult properly today, which I've been doing pretty well for the past, little bit. So I'm very happy with that. So I'm just trying to keep it going. Um, I have to quote Rugrats, right? Who likes responsibility? No one. Uh, but it is what it is. Uh, but it's life, right? Life is a constant balance between the stuff that we want to do and the stuff that we need to do, right? And the trick is having discipline. And discipline is doing what we don't want to do like it is something that we want to do, right? Having the same enthusiasm and encouragement and drive to do something that we just really do not want to do. But we're going to do it anyway, and we're going to do it with the same amount of enthusiasm because we know that it's what needs to be done and it's what we got to do. So I may still play around with this a little bit more. Um, you know, that elbow probably wouldn't be quite as visible. Um, the crease of the bicep would come in here. That would just kind of be where the bicep meets the forearm. So this would be shifted down a bit, but it would still be pretty prominent off to the side. And I may actually change this up a little bit. This upper arm. Give it like a skinnier upper arm. A little bit more of an angle. Maybe not so much on the bottom portion. Maybe this would be more straight. That's one of the things I love about drawing mythical creatures that don't actually exist. You can draw them any way you want. You can give them like humanoid muscles. You can give them, weird arachnid style muscles, which I don't know if spiders actually have muscles or not. Someone may want to fact check me on that, and I more than welcome you to, because I do not know about spiders. But it's something that you can make them look whatever way you want. Maybe I've got spider or centipede legs coming out from the side of it. You don't know because they don't exist. You can draw them however you want them to look. Do it. Be creative. Do the things in a different way, right? Um, by having this hand coming forward, it's going to decrease the size of the head, which is exactly what I was looking for. Here's another little Procreate trick. By the way, if you ever wanted to know a couple of little hacks for how to create perspective a little bit easier. Say you have something and you wanted to go through and really show that this hand was bigger. You can actually go through, and I go under adjustments, and I'll turn this off so everyone can see where I'm going. Go up to the little magic wand icon at the top of the screen in Procreate, which is your adjustments panel. Come down to liquefy, right? And close to the middle of that bar at the bottom, you'll see expand. Click on that. I only like to bring it up a little bit at a time, but you're going to want to choose a bigger brush size over here on the left. Keep the pressure kind of minimal. And then what you're going to want to do is check your size first. See that light gray or light black kind of circle that was on the screen? That's how big my brush is. So as you push that down under the expand tool, it's literally going to expand whatever's there like a bubble. If I wanted to pinch something and make it smaller, maybe this deltoid or this upper arm area, and you don't have to go super big with it, but if you see that round circle on the screen, that's as big as my brush is. The center of that, everything is going to be drawn into the center of that circle. So it will kind of stretch some things out, and it will help it move it back in space by shrinking everything to the center of that circle. So it's just like a little cool little trick that you can go through to utilize for different things. If I were to go to and use a smaller brush size and I just wanted to beef up the whole thing, I could go through and use it like it's a brush. And then everywhere that this brush touches, the middle of it would be expanded because I'm on the expand tool. If I wanted to do a pinch tool back here, I can just do each individual line. This may be helpful for when you're doing line drawings. If you wanted to shrink certain lines and make other lines bigger, sometimes I'll use this little trick. And you can really see how it can make you it can really help you adjust certain things to get the exact look that you're looking for. If something ends up being off or whatever, you can always use the push tool to kind of nudge it back into place or maybe bring it out in a certain direction a little bit more. This is more like a very fine adjustment tool. You can use the warp tool, which I'll go over in a second, but you can use the warp tool. That's more of like a coarse adjustment. But this is something that I really enjoy using, especially because of all the potential that it has. If you're trying to create almost like a lava flow kind of texture, it's got some like nice bumpy waves in it or whatever. There's ways that you can use this simple tool to create a kind of movable path along that texture, and you can really liquefy that whole area a lot easier. So that's just it's just one of the many tools available. Looks like we are just about out of time for today. We've got about 2 minutes left. If anyone has any quick questions, if not, I will go through and we will wrap it up for today. Hope everyone learned something new today. Hope everyone found something informational, or I hope someone was something. If you have any topics for shows coming up, if you have anyone you would like me to interview moving forward, by all means, you should be able to see my Instagram right up here. It's at Philly Inc. PhillYink on Instagram. Feel free to shoot me an email and I will be happy to reach out to whoever anyone wants me to interview. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, Jason at reinventingthetattoo.com. I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. Until then, I hope everyone keeps their hands busy. I know I say that every week, but I really do mean it. Keeping your hands busy is the best way to progress. Hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see everyone next week. Cheers.